Chapter 7:14. The sun on the map. Yun Chujio was puzzled. If the treasure were related to the eye of the earth, why did that person not come and personally look for it? Or did he send his own people to find it? Why did he ask the Goshawk sect to find it for him? Yun Chujio thought about it for 3 reasons. First, it was inconvenient for that person to come personally. Moreover, he didn't have his own power at the moment, so he could only use the Goshawk sect to complete it. Second, it was extremely dangerous there. Most likely it would be a disaster. That person didn't want to put himself in danger. Third, that person wasn't sure what was inside. He wasn't even sure if the map was real or fake, so it was not worth putting himself at risk. Since that was the case, should she continue to follow them to search for treasures? Yun Chujio thought about it, then gritted her teeth and decided to keep going. She had to go. If she wanted to find the person who hired assassins to kill her, she had to start with the jade token of the red spider lily. Moreover, the faction that had the jade token of the red spider lily had a big plan. If they were to find the eye of the earth, they would destroy the Azure Mystic Continent. Although she was not a person with a strong sense of justice, she had to stop them for the people she cared about. Yun Chujio and Lu Qian both had their own thoughts. However, both of them were very good at acting. On the surface, they were still talking and laughing. Everyone followed the map and soon found the place marked on the map. This was a mountain peak covered in snow that was not very high. The Goshawk sect's people searched for a long time but did not find anything special there. Where was the treasure hidden? Lu Qian took out the sheepskin map and looked at it again and again. It was indeed here, but where would he start looking? Young hero Shi, did you find anything? Lu Qian had no choice but to ask Yun Chujio. Sect leader Lu, I wonder if you have found that there is a picture of the sun on the top of this map? Yun Chujio asked with a smile. Lu Qian was stunned. He quickly looked at the sheepskin map in his hand. Sure enough, there was a ball of the sun on the upper right side of the map. Young hero Shi, could the sun be pointing to something? Yun Chujio giggled. I'm just guessing. Think about it. Why would he draw a sun on a map? It's not a drawing. Lu Qian nodded. Young hero Shi, what you said makes sense. Then what exactly does the sun mean? If I'm not wrong, it should mean that this mountain appears differently at a specific time. Only then can we find the place where the treasure is hidden. Looking at the position of the sun, it should be 3 o'clock in the morning. Yun Chujio looked at the sun on the map and said. Zhang Biao scoffed, what nonsense. I've never heard of a specific time for treasure hunting. Lu Qian glared at Zhang Biao unhappily, don't be rude. I think what young hero Shi said makes sense. If you still can't find any traps, well, wait until 3 in the morning tomorrow. Zhang Biao angrily continued to lead his people around the mountain to search for clues. Unfortunately, they had already combed the entire mountain and could not find any useful clues. Everyone could not help but feel a little discouraged. They could only set up camp on the spot and hoped a clue would appear at the specific time the next day. Yun Chujio found an opportunity to explain the situation to Enfeng. Enfeng was also very surprised. Miss Jiao, we don't know anything about what might be waiting inside. Are you really determined to go in? Yes. If the thing inside is really related to the eye of the earth, it must not fall into the wrong hands. We must get to it first, Yun Chujio said firmly. Chapter 7:15. Shifting Mountain Peak. Enfeng saw that Yun Chujio had made up her mind, so he could not persuade her anymore. After entering, he could only act according to the situation. The next day, everyone waited for the clock to strike 3. Zhang Biao curled his lips and said, Humph, you're deliberately stalling. I've never heard of a specific time for treasure hunting since I was young. It's almost 3 o'clock. If nothing happens, I'll smack you to death. Some people echoed the sentiment, that's right. You're spouting nonsense. You can tell that it's already midnight just by looking at the sun pattern? Do you think you can predict it? Lu Qian glanced at them unhappily. Zhang Biao and the person who spoke shut their mouths embarrassedly. However, they were calculating in their hearts. If there were no clues when it was already midnight, then they would take the opportunity to kill this brat. Very soon, it was already midnight. Everyone's gaze focused on the mountain peak as they hoped to find a clue. However, They were quickly disappointed. This mountain peak did not seem to be any different from before. Zhang Biao smiled sinisterly. "Smelly brat, are you playing us for fools? Master Zhang will cripple you today." Lu Qian frowned. Just as he was about to stop him, he heard a few people jeering. "Sect leader, this brat is extremely arrogant. Let Zhang Biao teach him a good lesson." Lu Qian's eyes flickered. He had never seen Shi Ling make a move before. He could take this opportunity to see how strong he was. If he was no match for him, he could just make a move to protect his life. Seeing that Lu Qian did not speak, Zhang Biao reached out his palm and swung at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio dodged Zhang Biao's attack and sneered, "Sect leader Lu, don't you want to go in and search for the treasure?" Lu Qian's heart skipped a beat and quickly stopped Zhang Biao. "Young hero Shi, did you find anything? Don't be too bothered with them. They are all boorish and only want to spar with each other. There is no malice in them. Zhang Biao, stand down." Zhang Biao unwillingly withdrew his hand and gave Yun Chujio a fierce look. He thought to himself, "If you find any clues, I will let you off temporarily. If you are deliberately bluffing, I will kill you then." Yun Chujio did not even look at him. Such a clown was not worth taking too seriously. She jumped up the mountain peak and walked to the part that was illuminated by the sunlight. She pushed aside the snow and carefully examined it. The Goshawk sect group initially still had hope. An hour later, when they saw that Yun Chujio still did not find anything, they could not help but sneer. It seemed that this stone spirit was just stalling for time. They wanted to see how long he could stall for. Lu Qian frowned. Just as he was about to say something, he heard a loud rumble. The entire mountain peak had strangely shifted, revealing a deep cave. Everyone was stunned. Firstly, they did not expect that Yun Chujio had actually found the mechanism. Secondly, that the entire mountain had moved. The person who created this mechanism must have been incredibly powerful, right? Yun Chujio jumped down from the mountain peak and patted the remaining snow off her hands. Then she said to Lu Qian, "Sect leader Lu, shall we all go down together? Or should we each leave someone outside to guard the entrance?" Lu Qian rolled his eyes and thought to himself, if we leave one person outside, it would make people worried. Therefore, he smiled and said, "If we want to make a fortune, let's all go down together." Yun Chujio nodded. "In that case, let's go down. Sect leader Lu, please." Lu Qian's eyes flickered. Who knew what dangers were down there? He did not want to be a sacrificial lamb. Hence, he said, "Young hero Shi, you have contributed greatly to finding the entrance. You should go first." Chapter 7:16. Sea Wave Decoration. Yun Chujio smiled and walked to the cave. She looked inside and saw a stone staircase leading down. Yun Chujio took out the illuminating pearl to illuminate the cave and climbed down the stone staircase. And Feng followed her down as well. Lu Qian saw the illuminating pearl that Yun Chujio was holding and his heart skipped a beat. It seemed that this stone spirit's family was indeed very rich. Could it be that that person was trying to cheat him of his money? Even if he was trying to cheat him of his money, he wouldn't have given him a real map. Couldn't he just randomly make up a fake one? At this moment, Lu Qian's thoughts had already been deeply misled by Yun Chujio. He had seriously gone astray. When Yun Chujio reached the bottom of the stone stairs, she realized that there were green stone slabs under her feet. On both sides of the stone walls and the green stone slabs under her feet were drawings of waves. Yun Chujio was a little dumbfounded. They were in an ice field. Why were there drawings of waves here? Could it be that this place was not an ice field but a sea? Lu Qian and the people from the Goshawk sect also climbed down. At the moment when everyone reached the bottom, there was a loud rumble above their heads. The mountain peak entrance had been sealed again. Everyone could not help but cry out in surprise. It was over. The entrance was sealed. How would they get out? They should have listened to the stone spirit and left a few people outside. Lu Qian also regretted his rash decision earlier. However, now that things had come to this, he could only continue to move forward and look for what that person wanted him to find. After walking through a narrow and long tunnel, a stone door appeared in front of everyone. The stone door was still engraved with the pattern of waves and was emitting a faint blue light. It gave people the illusion that they were at the bottom of the sea. Yun Chujio stopped her footsteps and quietly became more vigilant. There might be a formation here, so it was better to be careful. Seeing that Yun Chujio stopped, Zhang Biao cursed unhappily. Go ahead, why are you standing there? Yun Chujio said disdainfully, can't you see that the stone door is closed? Naturally, I'm thinking of how to open it. Zhang Biao curled his lips. What a piece of trash. Just push it open. Get lost. Watch Master Zhang open the door. Zhang Biao said as he walked in front of the large stone door. He raised his foot and kicked the stone door. Yun Chujio thought to herself, this is really a fool who wants an early grave. She and Enfeng suddenly retreated and activated the spirit energy shield to protect their bodies. Lu Qian and a few elders also quickly activated the spirit energy shield when they saw the situation develop. A few Goshawk sect disciples curled their lips disdainfully. They thought to themselves, these people are too timid. It's just a stone door. What kind of powerful mechanism could there possibly be here? Moments later, hundreds of blue water arrows shot out from the stone door. Zhang Biao was instantly turned into Swiss cheese, and two of the Goshawk sect disciples who did not dodge in time were also shot to death. Although some Goshawk sect disciples escaped the disaster, they were also injured by the water arrows. The most terrifying thing was that the water arrows were highly toxic. The injured disciples screamed a few times as they were all poisoned to death. Everyone had horrified expressions on their faces. They did not expect to lose 5 people before they had even found anything. This place was truly extremely dangerous. Just as everyone felt bewildered, the stone door opened on its own. A faint blue light shone out from the inside. It gave off a feeling of mystery mixed with awe. Although it made people feel terrified, a desire to find the truth was also piqued in them. The people of the Goshawk sect who were at the level of the spiritual emperor could still control themselves. However, those disciples who were at the level of a spirit cultivator could not hold back and were eager to walk in. Chapter 717. Mermaids. Yun Chujio slowly followed behind the Goshawk sect disciples. Lu Qian and the others gritted their teeth and entered the stone door vigilantly. After everyone had entered, the stone door closed with a rumble. Despite that, everyone was too distracted by what was in front of them. They were in a dome-shaped hall. Inside lay a stretch of azure seawater which seemed to defy all reason. Not only was there swaying seaweed, but there were also all kinds of beautiful fish swimming around. Everyone felt as if they were in an underwater world. Oh my God! It's too beautiful! Is this the Crystal Palace? It could also be the Dragon King's palace. The dragon is the richest divine beast. We're going to be rich. Could it be that the seawater is sealed inside? But how do these fish breathe? Why don't we see how it works? A Goshawk sect disciple took out an axe and was about to chop at the stone slab beneath his feet. Stop! Are you trying to get us killed? This time, Lu Qian reacted faster and gave the disciple a hard slap. The disciple was in a state of excitement just now, and the slap woke him up. He was a little stunned and then said, Sect leader, I wasn't myself just now. Before the disciple finished his words, a few other disciples took out their swords and sabers and were about to strike the floor and the stone wall, but they were stopped by a few elders. Everyone, this place is really strange. There are things that confuse the mind. Everyone must be careful. At this moment, Lu Qian already had the intention to retreat. However, there was no way out now, so he could only move forward. However, after looking around, they did not find any other exits. Could it be that there was only an empty room here? Just as everyone was puzzled, blue smoke seeped out from the ground and the walls. In the end, it formed a beautiful woman with a fish tail. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. A mermaid? Io, this is the first time I have seen a living mermaid. She is so beautiful. Her breasts are tall, her waist tender, and her fish tail has a faint blue glow. A few male disciples of the Goshawk sect couldn't help but drool. They suddenly jumped forward and shouted their excitement. By the time Lu Qian and a few elders tried to stop them, it was already too late. The woman gently waved her hand, and the male disciples disappeared from where they were. Just when everyone was stunned, the woman smiled and said, It's been a long time since I've added new fish. This time there are 5 more. This is really something to celebrate. Everyone followed the direction of the woman's finger and saw that there were 5 fish inside the wall ramming the wall. The fishes opened and closed their mouths as if they were shouting something. Everyone felt their hair stand on end. This mermaid woman could turn a person into small fish. It was too terrifying. Then, under this floor, wouldn't the wall be filled with people? Lu Qian's clothes were drenched in a cold sweat. His voice trembled as he said, "Fairy, we entered this place by mistake. We didn't mean to offend you. Can you let us out?" Turning into a fish and being sealed in the stone wall was a fate worse than death. Lu Qian was filled with regret. He hated the person who gave him the sheepskin map. This was not a place with treasure. This was purgatory in the human world. Chapter 7:18. The mermaid let out a laugh that sounded like a silver bell. Entered by mistake? This place is so well hidden. How could you have entered by mistake? Did I kidnap you? This laughter that sounded like a silver bell made everyone's hair stand on end. Lu Qian's eyes flickered. "Fairy, to be honest, the reason we were able to enter was because this kid found the mechanism on the mountain peak. We were all led here by him." Lu Qian pointed at Yun Chujio as he spoke. The mermaid looked at Yun Chujio. "So it's a little girl. Since you found the mechanism, as a reward, you can choose the type of fish you want to become. Tell me, which type of fish do you want to become?" "Little girl?" Lu Qian and the others looked at Yun Chujio in shock. They did not expect that this stone spirit was a woman disguised as a man. Yun Chujio looked at the mermaid with a smile. "I'm sorry. I only love eating fish and don't want to turn into one myself. If you want to turn them into fish, then go ahead. I have no objections." When Lu Qian and the others heard her words, they immediately shouted, "Fairy, the culprit is her. Please turn her into a fish and let us go." The mermaid woman sneered, "Let you go? None of you will escape. Little girl, since you don't want to choose, then turn into a toad-like fish with them." After the mermaid woman said that, she waved her sleeve and the goshawk sect and in foam disappeared in an instant. Only Yun Chujio was standing still. The mermaid was stunned. She waved her sleeves again, but Yun Chujio was still standing there as if nothing had happened. The mermaid smiled charmingly. "Yo, this is the first time in tens of thousands of years that someone has resisted my illusion magic. Little girl, how did you do it?" Yun Chujio giggled. "It's very simple. I simply don't believe that you can turn a person into a fish. Since I don't believe in it, how can I be affected by your illusion?" The mermaid was stunned. Initially, she thought that Yun Chujio had a powerful spiritual artifact on her. She did not expect it to be such a simple reason. That's right. An illusion is simply an artificial atmosphere that allows you to be immersed in it. That's why if you did not believe it at all and looked at it with a scrutinizing attitude, you would naturally not fall for it. However, despite it being a simple concept, many people could not tell reality and illusion apart from the other. It was very easy to be immersed in it. The mermaid laughed softly, and her charming laughter gradually turned into a man's deep laughter. Yun Chujio finally saw the real situation in front of her. Anfeng and the goshawk sect members fainted on the ground. There were no seawater or fish on the surrounding stone walls and the floor. They were only drawing some patterns of the sea waves. In front of Yun Chujio was a round platform. A man lay on the round platform. To be precise, it was a man with a human body and a fish tail. 3 huge chains fixed him on the round platform. The man had a pair of deep blue eyes. He was naked and his long ink-like hair was draped over his body. The man was very handsome, yet there was a hint of gloominess mixed in. Yun Chujio's eyes were wide open. "Oh my, a handsome fish? If this was to be sold as a portrait, it would definitely be very popular. Little girl, you are the first human who has not been bewitched by my illusion in tens of thousands of years. In that case, I will spare your life. You can stay and accompany me to relieve my boredom." The merman's deep blue eyes flickered with a faint light. Chapter 7:19. Big Brother Merman Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and pointed at the people on the ground. "What about them?" "Them? Of course they'll become food, the man sneered. Yun Chujio was shocked, but she felt relieved after thinking about it. Mermaids were also demonic beasts, so they naturally ate people. She pointed at Enfong and said with a smile, "Brother Merman, it's fine if you eat others, but this is my companion. Can you spare him?" The mermaid's man was slightly stunned. "Little girl, why aren't you surprised when you heard that I ate humans? The strong prey on the weak. It's just natural selection. What's there to be surprised about? Humans eat you demonic beasts, and demonic beasts eat humans. It's the same logic, so there's nothing to be surprised about," Yun Chujio said indifferently. "Ah, the law of the jungle. Natural selection. Little girl, you're really interesting." At first, the man laughed out loud, but later he turned crazy. His long hair danced in the wind. Yun Chujio secretly wiped her saliva. She had to admit that this merman was really beautiful. Even when he went crazy, he was still so beautiful. "According to what you said, is it natural for our merfolk to be exterminated? Our merfolk have always been aloof from worldly affairs. We lived quietly in the deep sea. What right do you have to say that we have violated the Tian Dao and sent down heavenly thunder to exterminate our merfolk?" The merman's dark blue eyes began to shed blood tears. They fell to the ground and turned into blood-red beads, sparkling with a lustrous light. Yun Chujio had heard of mermaids' tears before, but those were not the tears of mermaids but were produced by a type of sea clam. These were the real mermaid's tears. "Brother Merman, don't be sad. That old bastard Tian Dao often did such evil things. Tell me, how did your mermaid clan offend that old bastard Tian Dao?" Yun Chujio said as she secretly put away the small beads. The merman was originally full of grief and indignation, but when he heard Yun Chujio's words, he was immediately dumbfounded and sat speechlessly for a long time. He thought he had heard wrongly. "Little girl, what did you say just now?" "I said that old bastard Tian Dao has always done evil things to the heavens. Whenever he had nothing to do, he would strike me with lightning. Fuck, sooner or later, I will find him to take revenge." Yun Chujio puffed up her cheeks and said angrily. The merman was shocked. "You dare to criticize Tian Dao? He has let me down, why can't I criticize him? He does things according to his whims, there is no so-called fairness. Not only did I scold him, but I will also seek revenge on him in the future." Yun Chujio said angrily. The merman was stunned, he could not help but laugh at the sky. "Just, what you said makes sense. Tian Dao is unfair, why do we still have to fear him? If he was virtuous, he would not have punished us merfolk for no reason. Also, Tian Dao is indeed an old bastard. He is a bastard." Following the merman's words, rumbling thunder sounded above his head. The man could not help but smile bitterly. "Little girl, it's fine if you scold him, but if I scold Tian Dao, the heavenly thunder will strike me. It's good that it's here. I've lived long enough, it's better to destroy this place." However, the merman was obviously overthinking. Despite the thunder outside, that place was not affected. "Big brother Merman, tell me, how did your merfolk offend that old bastard Tian Dao?" Yun Chujio was already immune to the thunder, so she did not care about being struck by it. Chapter 720, 10,000-year-old Darksteel. Just as the merman was about to speak, he suddenly clutched his head with his hands. It was obvious that he was in great pain. "Ah, why can't I remember? My head hurts." Brother Merman, don't think about it if you can't remember. Let's talk about something else." Yun Chujio quickly changed the topic when she saw that the merman was in pain. The merman took a while to calm down, then said with a bitter smile, "The person who trapped me here must have sealed off a part of my memory. In the beginning, I didn't even remember what I said to you just now. Maybe I only remembered a little after the seal was broken." "Brother Merman, who trapped you here? Can you still remember that?" The merman shook his head. "I can't. I've been trapped here for more than 10,000 years. "Then, how did you survive these 10,000 years?" Yun Chujio asked curiously. The merman laughed self-deprecatingly. "I don't know what methods the people who trapped me here used. After some time, some corpses of demon beasts and humans would appear on the round platform, and I would eat them. After 1,000 years, there would occasionally be cultivators who would find their way in. No one could resist my illusions, and they were all eaten by me. Yun Chujia's heart moved. Big Brother Merman, can you let me see those corpses that appeared on their own? A few days ago, a few more people happened to fall in. They're in that corner. Go and see for yourself. The merman pointed to a corner in the west. Yun Chujio jumped over and saw the bodies of 6 people. Yun Chujio saw that the nails of the 6 people were slightly blue, and her heart stirred. She further inspected the bodies before she returned. Brother Merman, I'm afraid that you will gradually lose your memory. It's not just the seal. Those people were all poisoned to death. After you eat them, the poison will naturally seep into your body. Over time, your memory will be completely lost. Moreover, the poison will make you lose your mind and even go crazy. The merman was stunned for a moment before he smiled bitterly. The person who trapped me was really cunning. If that's the case, why didn't he just kill me? Could it be that he wanted to torture me? We merfolk have never eaten humans. To survive, I had to become as brutal as those low-level demon beasts. Perhaps this is the person's goal. Not only did he destroy our people, but he also wanted to turn me into a demon. Brother Merman, I see that your spiritual power is quite high. Can't you do anything to this iron chain? Yun Chujio saw that the merman was about to fall into madness again, so she quickly changed the topic. This is a 10,000-year-old dark steel chain. I've tried countless methods over the past 10,000 years, but I still can't get rid of this chain. Only the person with the key can open it, the merman said with a bitter smile. Yun Chujio recalled that the cage that Xue Wuji had trapped her in back then was also made of 10,000-year-old dark steel. It was indeed extremely tough and could not be opened without a key. However, Big Brother Merman, isn't the 10,000-year-old dark steel able to trap spiritual power? Why can you still create illusions and even use them to obtain food? The merman said proudly, our merfolk race cultivates differently from other races. What we cultivate is not spiritual power but elemental energy. Therefore, this 10,000-year-old dark steel cannot trap our elemental energy. Yun Chujia's heart moved. Big Brother Merman, I'm afraid this is the reason why that old bastard Tian Dao sent down the heavenly punishment. He will suppress those who might threaten him. Like how I have the heavenly thunder spirit root in me, so he keeps trying to kill me because of it. Chapter 721. Do you like meat or vegetables? The merman was slightly stunned when he heard Yun Chujia's words. Perhaps what you said makes sense. However, Tian Dao would not use such methods to trap me here. There must be someone else who is doing all this. Brother Merman, don't worry. The truth will be known to the world sooner or later. It's just a matter of time. You must live well. Yun Chujio felt that the merfolk clan had suffered too much. They were exterminated by an unknown person, and the only one who was still alive was still locked in this place that would never see the light of day. She felt a pang of sympathy in her heart. The merman sighed in disappointment. I'm the only one left in the merfolk clan, yet I'm trapped here. How can I find out the true culprit? The merman's eyes suddenly lit up. Little girl, why don't you help me find out the truth and avenge me? Yun Chujio spread out her hands. Big Brother Merman, if I had the ability, I would naturally be willing to help you. After all, we are all friends who were suppressed by that old bastard Tian Dao. However, I don't know a thing about your merfolk clan. Your memories have all been lost, and my spiritual power is low. I'm afraid I won't be able to help you much. Little girl, you only need to help me within the range of your ability. I won't force you. The merman was desperate. He was trapped here and had no way to get out, so he had no choice but to place his hopes on this little girl. Although this little girl's spiritual power was low, she had a heavenly thunder spirit root after all. Moreover, she was very intelligent. Perhaps she could help find the real culprit and take revenge for him. Yun Chujio saw that the merman was speaking so sincerely, so she could not refuse him anymore. So she said, all right, Big Brother Merman. As long as I am able, I will help you find the real murderer. However, you have to give me some clues. Now, other than knowing that the other merfolk were killed by the heavenly thunder, I don't know anything else about them. The merman showed a pained expression. Apparently, he tried hard to recall his memories. After a while, he said, "Little girl, I only remember that the place where we merfolk lived is a blue sea." Yun Chujio almost laughed out of anger. "Aren't you pulling my leg? Of course you merfolk live in the sea. Could you survive in the desert?" There seemed to be many high-level sea beasts in the sea where we lived. There seems to be a mountain by the sea. The merman covered his head again as he said this. His face was full of pain. "Brother Merman, if you can't remember, then don't push yourself. When I leave, I'll leave you some non-toxic food. You might be able to slowly recover your memory. Anyway, I'm still weak now, so I can't do anything too taxing." Yun Chujio didn't have anything else on her, but there was plenty to eat. The merman really couldn't remember anything else, so he could only provide the information he spoke of earlier. He continued, "My tears are top-grade water-repellent beads. Don't let others find out about you, lest you get into trouble." Yun Chujio touched her nose awkwardly. It seems like he noticed what she was doing earlier after all. However, she was very thick-skinned, so she pretended to not notice and chuckled. "Brother Merman, can you use storage rings? How about I put all the food in a storage ring for you?" "Sure, thank you very much. Do you like meat or vegetables? How about this, I will give you a combination of meat and vegetables. There are raw food and cooked food. You can eat whatever you like." Yun Chujio threw a few storage rings that had not been refined to the merman. After the merman refined the storage ring, Yun Chujio transferred all kinds of food into the corresponding storage ring. Chapter 722, Can I ask you a question? The merman saw the various kinds of food in the storage bag, and his eyes reddened. His tears fell again. It had been tens of thousands of years, and he had never eaten decent food since then. Although the food the little girl gave him was not what the merfolk were used to, it was already better than what he was forced to live on the entire time. The tears that the merman shed this time were different from the bloody tears from last time. This time, they were transparent and round beads. Yun Chujio, being such a shameless person, immediately picked them up. It was a good treasure. She could not waste it. The corner of the merman's eyes twitched. This little girl was greedy. "Little girl, our merfolk clan is very rich. I remember that we have a treasure vault." When the man said that, his head started to hurt again. Yun Chujio did not change the topic this time. "My goodness, that was critical information. Keep trying to remember." The merman suddenly opened his mouth and spat out a shell. The merman looked at the shell and tears flowed again. Yun Chujio picked up the beads on the ground and counted them in her heart. This one was for the gigolo, this one was for her grandfather, and this one was for her fourth brother. "Little girl, this shell should be the key to the treasury. Keep it. If you find the treasures inside will be my payment to you." The merman thought that Yun Chujio would definitely refuse. Just as he was about to say something to persuade her to accept it, he felt the shell disappear from his hand. He saw that the little girl had already swiped the shell and put it in her storage ring as if she were afraid that he would go back on his word. The merman's eyes twitched violently. The little girl's greed was no less than the legendary mythical beast Pai Shio. She was too greedy. "Big brother merman, don't worry. When my spiritual power increases, I will help you find the real culprit. Also, is this 10,000-year-old dark steel really impossible to break? Let me try something." Yun Chujio first struck it with lightning, then used her rolling pin to hammer it. There was not even a single scratch on the chain. Clearly, these attacks were useless against the 10,000-year-old dark steel. It's useless. 10,000-year-old dark steel is extremely hard. Other than having a key to open it, nothing else can break it. The merman sighed and said, "It's that strong? Is it true that nothing can break it? If I had the divine weapon, the divine god axe, I might be able to break it. However, the divine god axe disappeared tens of thousands of years ago. The possibility of finding it is almost impossible. Little girl, you don't have to worry about me. As long as you can help me find the real culprit and avenge our merfolk clan, I am willing to be trapped here forever. I won't have any regrets," said the merman sadly. Yun Chujio giggled and said, "Anything is possible. Before today, you didn't expect to meet such a smart human like me, right? So, You have to have faith that everything will work out. The merman looked at Yun Chujia's smiling face and couldn't help but feel warmth in his heart. After tens of thousands of years, this little girl was the first person to bring such warmth to his heart. Brother Merman, I have a question that has been nagging me for some time. Can I ask you about it? You won't be angry, right? Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and said carefully. What question? Hee, you have to promise that you won't get angry before I ask. Yun Chujio laughed dryly. The merman smiled. I won't get angry. Just ask. A moment later, after hearing Yun Chujio's question, the merman's face turned red and his hair stood up on end. Chapter 723. Yun Chujio's question. Yun Chujio laughed dryly when she saw how angry the merman was. Brother Merman, you said you wouldn't be angry. Why didn't you keep your word? The merman's face turned red. You little girl, you actually asked such a shameless question. How outrageous. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. Brother Merman, how is that a shameless question? This is a big problem that concerns the survival of the merfolk. You are the only one left. I have to know how the merfolk reproduce so that I can help you find a partner. Do you want the merfolk to go extinct? The merman was both embarrassed and angry. After a moment of silence, he squeezed out a sentence from between his teeth. We will turn into human form. Yun Chujio let out a long H. With a relieved expression, she said, That's easy then. When I rescue you in the future, I will introduce you to a girl. Although the offspring you give birth to is of mixed blood, it is still much better than having no offspring. Brother Merman, don't worry. I can tell that your looks and figure are not bad. There will be many girls who don't mind that you are a merman. The merman's face was completely red. For some reason, he felt that it was very embarrassing to be naked in front of this little girl. With a wave of his hand, a sky-blue cloak appeared on his body, covering his entire body. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. Big Brother Merman, so you are deliberately not wearing any clothes? I thought you were only like this because you don't have any clothes. The merman's face was as red as blood. In the sea, the men of the merfolks had always been naked, and the women only covered their chests. Only during important festivals or banquets would they transform into their human form and wear fancy clothes. He was already used to not wearing clothes. Initially, he thought nothing of it, but after hearing what the little girl said, why did he feel so uncomfortable? Yun Chujio saw that the merman was so embarrassed that he was about to find a hole to hide in. She cursed in her heart, Io, why are all the beautiful men in this world so innocent and shy? She changed the topic out of kindness. She pointed at Lu Qian and said, Brother Merman, can you cast your illusion on this person and help me ask him a few questions? The merman could not wait to ease the awkward situation he was in and immediately said, Yes, you can question him yourself. He will see you as a mermaid. Thank you, Brother Merman. Let's begin. The merman made a hand seal. A moment later, Lu Qian opened his eyes on the ground. The first thing he did was to look at his hands and feet. When he realized that he had not turned into a fish, he kept kowtowing to Yun Chujio. Thank you, fairy. Thank you, fairy. Why did you come here? This is your only chance. If you don't tell the truth, I will turn you into a fish again. Benevolent fairy. A masked man asked me to come. He said that if I could help him retrieve something, he would help me increase my spiritual power and make our Goshawk sect a super sect. Even the 4 great sects won't be able to compare to our Goshawk sect when we were done. What did he ask you to retrieve? Yun Chujio curled her lips. This Lu Qian was really ambitious, even bigger than the 4 great sects? And Feng and I alone could destroy his sect of flies. He asked me to find a map. Lu Qian was scared out of his wits and answered whatever he was asked. Map? What map? That man said to find a map, but he didn't say what map it was. Fairy, I'm just following orders. I don't know anything else. Lu Qian kept kowtowing and begging for mercy. Chapter 724. Yun Chujio drew the map. Yun Chujio frowned. That person promised that your Goshawk sect could become a super sect, and you actually believe him? To be honest, that person gave me a pill. After I ate it, I quickly rose from the 2nd level to the 3rd level of the Spirit Emperor realm. That person promised me that if I found the map and gave it to him, he would give me a lot of those pills. With those pills, our goshawk sect's disciples' cultivation will increase by a large margin. When that time comes, we will be able to rise to prominence. Lu Qian's eyes shone with yearning as he spoke. If you get the map, how will that person contact you? That person said that I don't need to contact him. He will contact me. After Yun Chujio inquired for a while, she indicated to the merman that she was done. The merman waved his hand and Lu Qian fainted once again. Yun Chujio took out the snow cashmere carpet from her storage ring and cut off a piece of it with a large kitchen knife. After scraping off the cashmere, she took out a brush, dipped it in a cinnabar and drew a map. The merman looked at Yun Chujio's actions curiously and said disapprovingly, "Little girl, the map you drew is obviously new. It's impossible to fool others." Yun Chujio giggled. "Brother merman, this is only the first step. You won't say that when you see the finished product later." The merman was skeptical. He saw Yun Chujio take out spirit wine and rice vinegar and rubbed it on the map. Then she took out a piece of or turned it into powder and started to smoke the map with fire. After Yun Chujio smoked the map until it was slightly yellow, she washed it again with water. After drying it with her spiritual power, she repeatedly folded it with her hands and dragged it around on the ground. Finally, she burned a corner of it with a flint and nodded in satisfaction before handing the map to the merman. "Big brother merman, what do you think?" The merman took the map and looked at it. He was very surprised. If he did not know that this map was newly drawn by the little girl, he would have thought that it was an old map that had been passed down for many years. "Little girl, I didn't expect you to have such a unique skill. This map looks real. The only flaw is that it's not made from the skin of a poison-antlered antelope. Otherwise, I would have thought that it was passed down from ancient times." Yun Chujio giggled. "I have many skills. This is just a small trick. Brother merman, can you set up an illusion for them to think that I helped them turn back into human form and get this map before sending us out?" The merman nodded. "Yes, I'll cast a spell right away. See you again, little girl." "Big brother merman, don't worry. I'll send you food again when I have time. You must take care and wait for my good news," Yun Chujio said with a smile. The merman saw Yun Chujio's bright smile and his heart warmed. He nodded solemnly. "I'll wait for you. Big brother merman, you have to keep your word. If you misspeak, you'll be a puppy." Although Yun Chujio's smile was very bright, she sighed in her heart. Big brother merman was kept going by the hatred of having his entire clan exterminated. That was why he was able to endure such torment day after day. If it was an ordinary person, they would not be able to live for even a day, let alone 10,000 years. The merman saw a trace of pity in Yun Chujio's eyes. His nose turned sour and he hurriedly began to cast a spell. After creating an illusion, he teleported everyone outside the cave. Chapter 725. And Feng, who wanted to report after a while, Lu Qian and the others woke up. When they saw Yun Chujio standing at the side, they looked confused. They were naturally grateful, but these people were greedy. When they thought of the map in Yun Chujio's hands, they became restless. Lu Qian's expression changed a few times. "A great man has to be ruthless. Although you saved me, I must get that map for the sake of our goshawk sect. Thank you for saving my life, young hero Sure. Please follow me to our goshawk sect for a few days and let us host you well." Lu Qian saw Yun Chujio's high spiritual power in the illusion and felt that these people in front of him might not have a chance of winning. Therefore, he decided to think of a way to kill Yun Chujio after he returned to the goshawk sect to obtain the map. The mermen erased some of their previous memories, so these people still thought that Yun Chujio was a young boy. Yun Chujio pretended to decline the invite a couple times. After a few rounds of humility, she smiled and said, "All right, it just so happens that I'm almost done with the trial. Since sect leader Lu is so kind, I'll go and disturb you for a few days." And Feng was a little confused now. He had a feeling that the Yun Chujio he saw in the underground was not quite the same as what he remembered, but he had clearly seen it with his own eyes. What exactly was going on? Fortunately, Yun Chujio found an opportunity to tell Feng about what had happened. And Feng finally understood. Young master, what are your plans next? Yun Chujio smiled slyly. Of course, it's to lure the snake out of its hole. I want to see who is the one who has the red spider lily jade token. And Feng knew that it was useless to persuade her, so he could only act according to the situation. However, the other thing he was thinking about was the naked handsome fish. Miss Gio called him Brother Merman. He was also very handsome. Should I tell the honorable sir or not? Yun Chujio did not know that Feng was going to secretly report her. She was thinking, since Brother Merman has already established my awesome image, I might as well deepen their impression of me. So she released the 2 earth-shattering ice bears. Lu Qian and the others were shocked. How could 2 Tier 8 earth-shattering ice bears appear out of nowhere? Let me introduce them to you. These are the means of transportation for me and the little madman. Although their levels aren't very high, they're still very useful in the chimeric ice field, Yun Chujio said with a smile. Lu Ren saw that the 2 earth-shattering ice bears were acting coquettishly like puppies beside Yun Chujio. He was so shocked that his eyeballs almost fell out. Young hero, sure, are these your new spiritual pets? Lu Qian felt lucky that he did not make a move just now. Otherwise, he might not have been able to defeat Yun Chujio. It was better to return to the Goshawk sect and plan things out. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and said, yes, I'm keeping them for fun. It's also really cool when you take them out. If you like them, you can go and catch 2 of them. It's very easy. Lu Qian and the others were dumbfounded. Are you kidding us? Simple? Simple my asteriskus. Not only were ice bears hard to catch, they were also violent. Some would rather die than be contracted by a human, let alone 2 of them at once. Yun Chujio and Feng sat on the back of the bear happily. The 2 earth-shattering ice bears trode forward happily while Lu Qian and the others chased after them bitterly. When they reached the edge of the ice lake, Lu Qian and the others finally reacted. There were scarlet poison frogs in the ice lake, so Lu Qian said, young hero, sure, let's take a detour. It's said that there are high-level demonic beasts in this lake. Yun Chujio said with a smile, if you guys are willing to take a detour, then let's do so. Anyway, I'm going through here. Big Bear, Bear 2, swim over. Chapter 726. The Secret of the 10,000-Year-Old Snow Ganoderma. 2 earth-shattering ice bears jumped into the ice lake. Yun Chujio and Feng stood on the back of the bear calmly and leisurely crossed the ice lake. Sect leader Lu, there doesn't seem to be the rumored carpet poison frog in the ice lake. Why don't we go there too? Shan Yanghu said. Lu Qian was afraid that Yun Chujio would leave with the map, so he gritted his teeth and said, all right. Well, go through it too. Lu Qian and the others swam across the lake with fear in their hearts. They only felt relieved when they reached the shore. It seemed that the frog was just a rumor. There was not even a trace of it. After a night's rest, they found the 10,000-year-old snow Ganoderma. Oh my god! It's actually a 10,000-year-old snow Ganoderma. And it's such a big bunch. Oh my god! How many spirit stones is this worth? We're rich. Lu Qian and the others immediately revealed their greedy looks. They could not find anything in this treasure hunt. If they could dig up the snow Ganoderma and sell it, it would be a considerable income. A few Goshawk sect disciples could not wait to rush forward. Only then did they realize that the 10,000-year-old snow Ganoderma was protected by a spirit energy barrier. Those few people began to attack the spiritual energy barrier with their spiritual energy, while Shan Yanghu and San Jiaoyan also attacked the spiritual energy barrier together. Yun Chujio did not go forward. She always felt that the 10,000-year-old snow Ganoderma was a little strange, so she just stood at a distance and watched. Lu Qian was afraid that Yun Chujio would take the opportunity to escape, so he also stood at the same place and did not move. An hour later, Shan Yanghu and the others finally broke through the spiritual energy barrier and fought to dig up the 10,000-year-old snow Ganoderma. They did not expect that a puff of poisonous smoke would shoot out from the 10,000-year-old snow Ganoderma. Those few people all fell to the ground and died. Even Shan Yanghu and San Jiaoyan, who were at the level of Spirit Emperor, did not manage to escape. They died just like that. Everyone was so scared that they quickly retreated far away. After the black smoke dissipated, everything returned to its original appearance. However, the corpses on the ground had strangely disappeared. Yun Chujia's heart stirred. Her brother Merman had once said that there would be the corpses of demonic beasts and humans falling on the round platform every once in a while. So that was how the corpses came about. This 10,000-year-old snow Ganoderma was actually bait. It was used to lure food for Big Brother Merman. The person who designed the array formation there was really awesome. So it seemed that it was not an ordinary task to save Big Brother Merman. The other party was obviously very powerful. Not to mention her, even the gigolo was probably not his match. Lu Qian's entire body was soaked in sweat. If he was not there to monitor the spirit stones, he might have gone to help attack the spiritual energy barrier. He would be dead for sure. The few people around Lu Qian were also extremely fearful. They wanted to preserve their position, so they did not go along with the digging. Otherwise, they would definitely die. Now, Lu Qian only had 8 people left. 2 of them were hired spirit sovereign realm elders, and the remaining 6 people were all from the Goshawk sect. Everyone set off once again. The atmosphere became much more solemn, and they became even more cautious. That night, Yun Chujio sneakily released the 2 earth-shattering ice bears. Big Bear, Bear 2, I'm leaving this chimeric ice field. This is the blood coagulation pill that I promised you. We'll meet again in the future. Be careful and don't be discovered by them. Big Bear and Bear 2 rubbed against Yun Chujio before disappearing into the night. Their fur and ice field fused into one, and together with the deliberate concealment of their auras, Lu Qian and the others did not notice their departure at all. Chapter 727. Blame me. Early the next morning, Lu Qian noticed that the 2 earth-shattering ice bears had disappeared. He asked in puzzlement, "Young hero Sure, where are your 2 earth-shattering ice bears? Sitting on their backs all day is really boring. I plan to stroll around by myself, so I put them into the spirit beast pouch," Yun Chujio said indifferently. Lu Qian and the others had looks of envy, jealousy, and hatred on their faces. "You don't know your fortune when you have it. How we wish we had such a spirit pet that could be used as a transportation tool." The next few days went smoothly. When they encountered the demonic beasts, Yun Chujio naturally hid behind them and let Lu Qian and the others do the work. Although Lu Qian and the others were dissatisfied, they could not say anything since Yun Chujio saved their lives. When they arrived at the spirit-sapping forest, Lu Qian said in puzzlement, "Young hero Sure, I wonder if it was normal when you passed through this spirit-sapping forest. When we passed by, these spirit-sapping vines turned into this half-dead appearance. It's really strange." Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. "When we passed by, it was also like this. Could it be that these vines aren't like this usually?" As soon as Yun Chujio finished her sentence, those vines began to tremble. "That little devil who drank our poison is here again. So scary. This little devil is lying through his teeth. You were clearly the one who sucked all the poison out of our bodies, yet you still pretend to be innocent. It's really too hateful. I really want to beat her to death. Young hero Sure, why are these spirit-sapping vines trembling? Could it be that something has happened?" Lu Qian was already scared out of his wits and was panicking. "It's nothing. I guess they're more excited when they see someone coming. When we passed by here, nothing happened. I even went up the tree to pick wild fruits to eat." Yun Chujio said with a smile. A Goshawk sect disciple curled his lips. Are you bragging? It's fine if the vines are on the ground. Once they start climbing the tree, they will start absorbing the spiritual power of the people. The light ones would lose their spiritual power, and the heavy ones would lose their lives. How could you dare to go up the tree to pick wild fruits to eat?" Yun Chujio glanced at him, then she tapped the ground with the tip of her feet and leaped up a tree with a whoosh, breaking a branch full of red wild fruits. Then she jumped down. "See? Nothing happened. There's no such thing as absorbing spiritual power like you said." Lu Qian and the others were dumbfounded. Could it be that this spirit-sapping forest really stopped absorbing spiritual power? The disciple who had mocked Yun Chujio earlier saw that Yun Chujio was enjoying the sweet fruit and was a little greedy. He imitated Yun Chujio and jumped onto a tree. Before he could break the branches of the wild fruit, a spirit-sapping vine next to him tied him tightly to the tree. The vine thought to itself, "Damn it. I don't dare to mess with that little devil, and do you think I don't dare to mess with you? I can absorb all of your spiritual power and replenish my power." That disciple was so scared that he cried out, "Sect Master, help, help." Lu Qian was so angry that he gnashed his teeth. "Aren't you just looking for trouble for no reason?" However, they could not just leave him to die. Everyone used their spiritual power to cut off a part of the vine, and finally saved that disciple who already had half his spiritual power absorbed. The disciple glared at Yun Chujio fiercely. Yun Chujio spread out her hands and said, "It's not like I asked you to climb the tree. You're the one who's greedy. Are you blaming me?" The disciple was already a little weak after losing half of his spiritual power. After being angered by Yun Chujio, he choked and fainted. Chapter 728, Spirit-Devouring Pilz Sect Leader Lu. These disciples of yours are really too weak in resisting pressure. I didn't say anything, but they actually fainted from anger. TSK, it would be really difficult for them to become great. Yun Chujio said arrogantly with her hands behind her back. Lu Qian's face was livid. He squeezed out 2 sentences through the gaps of his teeth. Young Hero Shi's words make sense. They really lack experience. After the disciple consumed the pill, he woke up. Just as he was about to say something else, Lu Qian gave him a tight slap on the face. "You disgraceful thing, shut up." The disciple covered his face and did not dare to say anything. However, in his heart, he hated Yun Chujio. "You brat, just you wait. When we reach the Goshawk sect, it'll definitely kill you." The rest of the journey was very smooth. Everyone left the chimeric plains and rode their swords to the Goshawk sect. Yun Chujio was afraid of being exposed, so she did not use the chopping board. And Feng rode his sword and brought her along with Lu Qian and the others to the Goshawk sect. The Goshawk sect was in Chimeric City and occupied an entire street. When the Goshawk sect heard that the sect leader had returned, they all went to the door to welcome him. Lu Lianxin immediately saw Yun Chujio, who was beside Lu Qian. She looked at Lu Qian in confusion. "Father, why is this little thief with you? Why didn't you kill him?" Lu Qian snorted in displeasure. "What little thief? This is young Hero Shi, father's savior. Don't be rude." Lu Lianxin was usually very arrogant. When she saw that Lu Qian did not give her face in front of so many people, she stomped her feet and ran back to the manor. Lu Qian said, "Young Hero Shi, please don't take offense. I have spoiled Lianxin so much that she can't be helped anymore. After I have lectured her, I'll ask her to apologize to you." Yun Chujio smiled indifferently. "It's all right. Sect leader Lu is too polite. It's almost noon. Let's hurry in and have lunch. I'm hungry." The corner of Lu Qian's eyes twitched. "Young Hero Shi, please come in. I'll get someone to prepare the banquet immediately." Lu Qian thought to himself, although Shiling's spiritual power was not low, he's greedy for pleasure. There's no way he can escape from my grasp. After everyone entered the residence, Lu Qian first let everyone wash up and then set up a sumptuous banquet. However, some of the dishes in the feast included the spirit-devouring pills that he had bought at a high price. The spirit-devouring pills were much more expensive than the scattered spirit pills, but the spirit-devouring pills were colorless and tasteless. Even spirit emperors would find it hard to notice. Yun Chujio gave Feng a subtle look. And Feng understood. Some of the dishes looked like they had been eaten, but in fact, they had all been stored in his storage ring. He did not swallow them. Yun Chujio did not have such concerns, and she enjoyed the food very much. "Sect leader Lu, your Goshawk sect's chefs are really good. These braised pork ribs taste better than the ones I ate elsewhere. It's a different kind of taste. Also, these steamed fish and dry fried meatballs are better than the ones cooked anywhere else." Lu Qian was shocked. The dishes that Shiling mentioned were all made with spirit-devouring pills. Could it be that he had discovered them? That was not right. If he discovered them, why was he still eating so happily? Perhaps it was just a coincidence. Yes, it must be a coincidence. After 3 rounds of wine and 5 dishes, The two spirit emperor elders that Lu Qian hired said, "Sect leader Lu, we've already agreed before that if we find the treasure, we'll split it by head. If we don't find the treasure, you'll pay us 10 million low-grade spirit stones each. Now, it's time for you to fulfill your promise." Lu Qian smiled sinisterly. "Spirit stones? Hee, the spirit stones paid, but you have to go underground to get it." Chapter 729. Little Black Lu Qian, what do you mean by this? The two old men flew into a rage. "What do I mean? Of course I mean to kill you. Do you think I will let you spread the news that I got the map? Only dead people can keep a secret." Lu Qian said gloomily. "Lu Qian, you're too arrogant. We're not to be trifled with." "No, wait. My spiritual power. What about my spiritual power? You actually poisoned me. Despicable." The two old men realized that they had lost more than half of their spiritual power. Lu Qian smiled coldly. "Do it. Kill them." The people of the Goshawk sect attacked together. The two old men had lost more than half of their spiritual power, so they were no match for them. After 15 minutes, they died. During this time, Yun Chujio was still eating leisurely, as if these things had nothing to do with her. Seeing this, Lu Qian was a little suspicious. Could it be that the spirit-devouring pill had no effect on them? Why were they so calm? Lu Qian was a little hesitant. Should he make a move on Yun Chujio and Enfeng? "Young hero, sure, sorry for making a fool of myself. I wonder what you think of the taste of this meal?" Lu Qian was afraid of Yun Chujio's spiritual power, so he decided to test it out first. The taste of the meal is very good. This grand banquet is also done very beautifully. Sect leader Lu, I've eaten and drunk the wine. May I rest now? I've been running around these days and am tired. I really want to have a good sleep. Yun Chujio stretched lazily, she said with a smile. Lu Qian was even more bewildered. Just as he was hesitating, Lu Lianxin and a few disciples pulled out their swords and stabbed at Yun Chujio and Enfeng. "Brat, you humiliated us in the plains that day, and today, I'll kill you. Not only will I kill you, but I'll also skin that flaming fox." Lu Lianxin hated Yun Chujio to death, coupled with the instigation of the male disciple whose spiritual power had been absorbed by the spirit vine. She could no longer hold back her hatred. Lu Qian's heart moved. It was good to let Lianxin and the others test the waters. It would be best if they were killed. If they were not killed, he would play the good cop, and the situation would be resolved. Therefore, Lu Qian gave a signal to the elders, telling them not to make a move for now and to wait and see. Yun Chujio's eyes darkened. These idiots are really courting death. If it wasn't for the fact that we wanted to lure out the person with the jade token, I would have killed all of you. Yun Chujio leaped and dodged the attacks of these people. She easily kicked Lu Lianxin and the others to the ground and then said coldly, "Sect leader Lu, is this what you meant by treating me well? Could it be that you also poisoned our dishes?" Lu Qian laughed dryly. "Young hero, sure, how is that possible? Aren't the two of you doing well? You are my savior. How can you be compared to those two greedy people?" "Lianxin, I really spoiled you. Hurry up and apologize to young hero sure." "Father, this brat has humiliated me several times, and you still want me to apologize to him?" Lu Lianxin was kicked on the dining table by Yun Chujio. The soup and water splashed all over her body, making her look very miserable. "Bastard! Do you ever heed my words? Lock up Lianxin and these bastards. No one is allowed to let them out without my order." Lu Qian said angrily. "Father, how dare you treat me like this? I don't want to live anymore." Lu Lianxin was held in the palm of Lu Qian's hand all this time. How could she have suffered such a great grievance? She immediately picked up the sword and was about to commit suicide. Lu Lianxin was purely trying to scare Lu Qian. She did not want to die at all. However, there was a little black bird in Yun Chujio's spiritual beast bag. When it heard that Lu Lianxin was going to skin the flaming three-tailed fox king, it was immediately unhappy. Little Red was now its underling. "How dare you bully my underling? I curse you to death." Thus, this fellow began to curse secretly. Then, Everyone watched as Lu Lianxin staggered and actually committed suicide. Chapter 730. Luring the snake out of its hole. Lu Qian also thought that Lu Lianxin was just scaring him, so he did not pay too much attention to it. Furthermore, the incident happened so suddenly. By the time he regained his senses, Lu Lianxin was already dead. Lianxin, my daughter, my good daughter. Lu Qian, who had just regained his senses, collapsed on the ground and wailed loudly. Yun Chujio frowned. No matter how she looked at it, she felt that Lu Liangxin's death was a little strange. It was as if she had fallen and hit the blade of the sword. Little Black, did you do this? Little Black rolled its bean-like eyes. Master, I didn't expect her to be so unlucky. I wanted to teach her a lesson, but she died just like that. Retribution. This is retribution. Cut the crap. I'm warning you, if you act on your own next time, I definitely will not let you off easily. Yun Chujia's head hurt a little. These 3 silly cubs looked obedient, but each of them was more worrisome than the last. However, compared to the 2 big shots in her dantian, these 3 were not bad. Why is my life so bitter? At that moment, the banquet hall was in chaos. Lu Qian's eyes were red. Although he felt that Lu Liangxin's death was a little strange, he had watched Lu Lianxin kill herself. He did not blame himself for the trouble caused by his greed. Instead, he blamed Lu Liangxin's death on Yun Chujio. If it weren't for you, my daughter wouldn't have died. I would have killed you sooner or later. Lu Qian could really endure it. Although he hated Yun Chujio in his heart, he said on the surface, Young hero, sure, I'm really sorry that such a thing happened at home. I'll get someone to take you to rest. I'll take care of Liangxin's funeral before I entertain you properly. Yun Chujio also revealed a pained expression. Sect leader Lu, I'm sorry for your loss. Then I'll rest first. We'll talk more when we have time. Yun Chujio and Feng went to the guest room. Yun Chujio had specifically asked for only 1 guest room. Lu Qian did not have the heart to ask about it, so the servants arranged for the 2 of them to stay in the same courtyard. And Feng took out the isolation array and activated it. He asked, Young master, was what happened to Lu Lianxin really an accident? Yun Chujio curled her lips. Little Black caused it. I've already warned it. If there's a next time, I won't forgive it. And Feng's eyes twitched. I knew it. No matter how I look at it, that Lu Lianxin doesn't look like she was really going to commit suicide. So it's Little Black's doing. Young master, what should we do next? Wait and see. We'll lure the snake out of its hole. I reckon that person has already received the news of Lu Qian's return and will come to visit soon. Lu Qian won't be able to get the map from me, so that person will probably meet me personally. When the time comes, we'll act according to the situation. And Feng nodded, and the 2 of them took turns to meditate and rest. Although Lu Qian's heart was filled with grief, the ambition in his heart swelled even more. He could not let Liangxin's death be in vain. He had to turn the Goshawk sect into a super large sect. Even if he could not obtain the map from that Shiling, as long as he stalled them, when that person arrived, that person's spiritual power would be superb and he would definitely be able to kill Shiling. At that time, the credit would still go to him. Just as Lu Qian was about to make further plans, he did not expect that someone would arrive in his bedroom that night. My lord, you're here. Lu Qian was very excited when he saw that the person who had come was the person who had given him the pills. It must have been his Liangxin's spirit in heaven that had protected him. The Goshawk sect's chance to soar to the sky had come. Chapter 731. Hand over the map. Is there a map there? Have you obtained the map? The person asked in a hoarse voice. Sir, there is indeed a map there. Good. Very good. Quickly hand it over to me. The person's tone suddenly rose, clearly very excited. Sir, but that map isn't in my hands now. It has been taken by Shiling, but don't be anxious, sir. That Shiling is in my residence. Lu Qian thought for a moment and did not ask the person why he sold the map to the stone spirit. He was afraid that if he asked too many questions, he would anger the person. Shiling? Who is Shiling? Why is the map with him? The person asked in puzzlement. Sir, didn't you sell a jade slip to that Shiling? He found the treasure according to the map on it. We were in the main hall, and it was he who saved us. Lu Qian briefly recounted what had happened. That person snorted coldly, "Nonsense. When have I ever sold a jade slip? Call that guy over immediately." Lu Qian quickly sent someone to invite Yun Chujio. A moment later, the servant came back to report, "Sect leader, young hero sure said that he's very tired. If there's anything, we'll talk about it tomorrow during the day." That person snorted coldly, "Lu Qian, you go with me. I want to see who dared to trick us." Lu Qian wished this man could slap Yun Chujio to death. He and the man immediately went to the courtyard where Yun Chujio was. The two of them directly barged into the house. Although it was night, the inside of the house was as bright as day. A huge luminous pearl was placed on the table. Yun Chujio sat calmly on the chair, drinking tea and eating melon seeds. When she saw the two of them come in, she giggled. "All of you are here? If you want the map, then sit down and talk." "Shiling? Why did you make up the lie that I sold you the jade slip? What are your intentions?" The masked man looked at Yun Chujio carefully for a while. Although this kid might have hidden his spiritual power, he did not see anything special. "What are my intentions? Of course it's for the spirit stones now that the map is in my hands. If you want it, you can buy it with spirit stones. It's that simple." Yun Chujio took out the map from her storage ring and shook it, then put it away. "Don't be arrogant, Shiling. You're now in the territory of our goshawk sect. If you anger me, you won't have a good ending." Lu Qian's eyes were full of resentment. "As long as I get the map, I will make you beg for your life and avenge my Lianxin. I advise you to be more sensible. If you force me into a corner, I will destroy the map. At that time, none of us will be able to get it." Yun Chujio calmly sipped her tea and said indifferently. The masked man sneered and said, "How many spirit stones do you want? I heard that this map is related to a huge treasure. Therefore, it's naturally very valuable. 100 million upper-grade spirit stones. 100 million upper-grade spirit stones? You're simply asking for a sky-high price." Lu Qian cursed angrily. The masked man also sneered and said, "It seems that you don't have the sincerity to make a deal. In that case, give me your life." The masked man suddenly reached out his hand and slapped Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio dodged the man's attack. "Hey, if the price is too high, we can discuss it again. It's not a good habit to get physical. Cut the crap. Hand over the map. Otherwise, it'll kill you." The masked man slapped Yun Chujio again. Chapter 732. Who is your master? Kill me. You're dreaming. We might not even be able to kill each other. Yun Chujio kept dodging and did not attack. The masked man saw that he could not hit Yun Chujio after a few moves, so he became a little impatient. He shouted at Lu Qian, "Lu Qian, what are you standing there for? Hurry up and help." Just as Lu Qian was about to help, he felt a gust of wind behind his head and subconsciously dodged it. He did not expect that there would be another gust of wind in front of him. Just as he dodged it, there was another gust of wind behind his head. Lu Qian kept dodging in a sorry state. "Sir? Help, help. What's going on?" The masked man was stunned. Concealment talisman? Just as he was stunned, Yun Chujio also disappeared. Almost at the same time, Lu Qian screamed and fell to the ground. The masked man was shocked and wanted to rush out of the door. How could Yun Chujio and Enfeng let him have his way? She thought that the person behind Lu Qian was very powerful, but she did not expect that he was only at the 4th level of the Spirit Emperor realm. She really overestimated Lu Qian. Yun Chujio and Enfeng Pincer attacked from the front and back, and they also activated the concealment talisman, so they did not spend much effort to restrain the masked man. After restraining the spiritual power of the masked man, Enfeng broke the tendons of the man's feet. Only then did he and Yun Chujio reveal themselves. Enfeng took off the mask on the man's face, revealing an ordinary face. He took off the jade plate on his waist and looked at it. Sure enough, there was a picture of the lily carved on it. "Tell me, who is your master?" Yun Chujio took out a large kitchen knife and rubbed it on the man's face. The man looked at Yun Chujio with contempt. You want to know about our master? Don't even think about getting any information from me. After saying that, the man intended to bite the poison hidden in his mouth. Unexpectedly, Yun Chujio touched his body a few times and he found that he could no longer move. Yun Chujio took out the poison in his mouth. She sneered, "You still want to play this trick with me? I have a lot of ways to make you beg for death. For example, I will cut you 1,000 times, pour honey on you, and let the stone-eating ants bite you bit by bit until you're left with white bones. Then I will give you a muscle-growing pill. When your skin and flesh grows back, I will cut you a few more times." The man widened his eyes in horror. Yun Chujio tapped on his acupuncture points a few times. Then, she used the large kitchen knife to cut his neck. "This is the first cut. If you don't say it, it'll continue to cut. Anyway, I have the pills here, so I won't let you die." The man could not take it anymore. If he took the poison and committed suicide, it would only be a moment of pain. The punishment described by Yun Chujio was really creepy. "They'll say it. They'll say it. If you want to talk, then tell us everything you know. If you dare to lie or brush us off, itching." Yun Chujio took the large kitchen knife and slashed the man's neck again. At that moment, the man felt that the young man in front of him was simply a devil that had come out of hell. He said in a trembling voice, "Young hero. Actually, I don't know who the Lord is. 3 years ago, a man wearing a mask came to me and said that he could rapidly increase my spiritual power. He also promised me that if we complete the Lord's great cause, he would lead us to a higher-level continent. The spiritual energy there is 100 times richer than our Qingxian continent. It will be a paradise for mankind." Chapter 733. I heard that you have another brother. That person gave me some pills to consume and use to subdue the forces. He asked me to look for information about the eye of the earth. I happened to obtain that sheepskin map and thought that there might be something inside. Thus, I subjugated Lu Qian and wanted him to be a scapegoat to scout the way. If I can find the map or the treasure, I will kill him and take it for myself. If he dies, he'll find someone else. Young hero, that's all I know. I haven't seen that person for 3 years, but he would occasionally ask me about the progress of the matter through the voice transmission talisman. I've told you everything I know. Please spare me. Yun Chujio's palm landed on the back of the man's neck. Then she said to Infeng, "What this person said should be true. Let him use the voice transmission talisman to lure the upper line here. Who knows what he might do with the voice transmission talisman? There are only 2 of us and we're really alone." Infeng nodded. "Miss Gio, let's return to the Spirit Radiance sect first and then make a long-term plan." Yun Chujio thought about it and could only do so. "All right. Well, return to Spirit Radiance sect now. Then what about the mess that is Goshawk sect? In natural selection, the winner is king. Let them fight among themselves. We'll leave now." Yun Chujio was not in the mood to deal with these trivial matters. She put the man in a sack and let Infeng carry him on her shoulder. Then she set a fire and took advantage of the chaos to leave the city. After the 2 of them left Chimeric City, they returned to the Spirit Radiance sect on a flying spirit tool. Half a month later, the flying spirit tool arrived at the Spirit Radiance sect. Yun Chujio brought the man who had taken the sleeping powder to the meeting hall and told Master Xinyuan everything that had happened. However, when Yun Chujio told him, she did not mention the merman. Instead, she told him about the illusion that the merman had set up. "Little Gio, you should go back and rest. I will gather the other 3 sect leaders and discuss a safe plan before informing you." Since the matter was of great importance, Master Xinyuan could not make a decision in a hurry. Yun Chujio nodded and returned to her dormitory. She did not dare to relax for the past few days. Finally, she could have a good rest. Yun Chujio took a shower and fell asleep. Yun Chujio slept until the evening. When she woke up, she saw Di Baiming sitting beside the desk, reading a book. Seeing this, she jumped over from the bed. "Prince Charming, I missed you so much. Quickly catch me." Di Baiming sighed and stretched out his arm to hold Yun Chujio in his arms. "Nonsense. How crazy are you?" Yun Chujio hugged Di Baiming's neck and said shamelessly, "I like to fool around. Don't you like me like this?" Di Biming picked Yun Chujio up and put her back on the bed. He said with a straight face, "I heard that you have another brother?" Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. "My Prince Charming, did the little madman tell on me? This chatterbox." Little madman? The corner of Di Biming's eyes twitched. "Little Gio, don't change the topic. What's with the merman?" "The merman is so pitiful. He was trapped by 3 10,000-year-old black iron chains for more than 10,000 years. Yun Chujio told him everything. Of course, she naturally omitted some details that could easily be misunderstood by Di Biming, such as how the mermaids multiplied. Chapter 734. The big brother merman was very good-looking. Prince Charming, have you heard of the merfolk? How did they get wiped out? Yun Chujio's eyes sparkled. Prince Charming, you know everything and are very powerful. When Di Biming was looked at by Yun Chujio's worshipful eyes, his heart immediately softened. The merfolk were indeed wiped out tens of thousands of years ago, but it said that they lived in the Tianyuan continent. But is one of them imprisoned in the Qingxian continent? Who knows what's going on? The memory of Brother Merman has almost disappeared. Oh right, I even picked up a few of his tears. Brother Merman said that this is the best water-repellent bead. Prince Charming, I will give you the biggest one. Yun Chujio took out the water-repellent beads, picked the reddest and largest one and handed it to Di Biming. Di Biming's heart was touched. Seeing Yun Chujio give him the reddest and largest water-repellent bead, his heart was filled with sweetness. Although the black thing was not interesting, he was still the number one thing in her heart. He was very gratified. Yun Chujio saw that Di Biming had been coaxed by her and was very pleased in her heart. Little fellow, you're such a gigolo. Settled you in a minute. Yun Chujio's stomach started to growl and her eyes lit up. Prince Charming, the snow rabbit meat on the chimeric ice field is very delicious. I've caught many of them. I will roast them for you to eat later. Di Biming's lips curled up slightly. Okay. Yun Chujio washed up briefly, hopped outside, and began to prepare the roast meat. And Feng was afraid that Yun Chujio would seek revenge on him, so he hid in a corner and obediently pretended to not exist. Little madman, come over and roast the meat for me. Yun Chujio glared at him fiercely. The corner of an In's eyes twitched violently, and he looked at Feng with a mocking expression. Miss Gio, didn't we agree? Isn't that just an alias on the chimeric planes? And Feng asked with a sad expression. You snitch. They'll call you crazy from now on. Hurry up and roast the meat. Yun Chujio puffed her cheeks and said angrily. And Feng looked at Di Biming, hoping that his esteemed self would speak up for him. Who would have thought that Di Biming would like Yun Chujio so much that he did not even look at Feng? And Feng could only start to roast the meat without complaining. He was so regretful that his intestines were turning green. His lord did not even speak up for him. Miss Gio was full of evil intentions. She might not torture him in the future. After a while, Di Biming saw Yun Chujio enter the house to take something. He whispered to Feng, from today onward, your monthly salary will be doubled. The dark clouds in Feng's mind were instantly swept away. If he was a little crazy, then so be it. For the spirit stones, for the esteemed lord's high regard for him, he would go all out. When Yun Chujio came out of the house, she saw Feng's smile almost reaching his cheeks. She looked at him suspiciously and asked, Feng, did you think of something happy? Miss Gio, we returned safely from our experiential learning and even caught the person with the jade token. Naturally, we should be happy. The rabbit leg is done roasting. You and the esteemed lord can eat it now. Yun Chujio saw the snow rabbit meat that was sizzling with oil, so she did not ask any more questions. She pulled Di Biming to sit on the stone chair and started eating happily. Feng wiped away his cold sweat. It was so close, so close. It was really difficult to carry out intelligence work when he was beside Miss Gio. Sigh. One must enjoy life in time. Just like Brother Merman, what's the use of being good-looking? He has been trapped there for tens of thousands of years. Not to mention eating roasted meat, he would be lucky if he did not starve to death. Yun Chujio said with a sigh. When Di Biming heard Yun Chujio praising the merman's good looks, he felt a little pang in his heart. He asked quietly, "Is that piece of mermaid really good looking? Are you exaggerating?" Chapter 735. Wisdom is a fool. Every time D. Biming mentioned the merman, he always said it as if it was an object. He wanted Yun Chujio to understand that it was a demonic beast and not a human. Unfortunately, Yun Chujio did not pay attention to this. When she saw D. Biming questioning her words, she pouted and said, "Prince Charming, don't you believe me? Then he'll draw it for you." Yun Chujio had almost finished eating, so she took out the drawing paper and quickly started drawing. Not long after, she drew a portrait of a merman. She captured it in both form and spirit, especially the dark and pure look in his eyes, which made people involuntarily feel pity for him. "Prince Charming, do you think Brother Merman is good-looking?" Most importantly, Brother Merman's beauty is the kind of pure beauty that doesn't touch the secular world. It's the kind of beauty that people can't bear to blaspheme. Yun Chujio pointed at the portrait of the merman on the table and said. D. Biming looked at the portrait on the table, and his heart felt a little stifled. Although he was slightly less good-looking than him, he was indeed not bad-looking. Damn it, he was not even wearing clothes on his upper body. He was simply shameless. When he heard Yun Chujio's praise for the merman, he felt even more frustrated. His eyebrows were knitted together. Pure beauty. He was simply shameless and a pervert who did not wear any clothes. And Feng, who was beside him, took a few steps back without batting an eyelid. "Miss Jiu, what did you mean by even the wisest can have a momentary lapse in judgment? You are acting like a demon right now. This time, you can't blame me. It's all your own doing." Yun Chujio's IQ would automatically go offline the moment she appeared in front of D. Biming. She did not notice D. Biming's unsightly expression and continued. "What a pity. If the mermaid women still existed, they would definitely be astonishingly beautiful. However, I've already asked Brother Merman. They can reproduce just like human women. When the mermaids turn into human form, nothing will be delayed." Crack. The stone table shattered into powder. "Black thing. Say that again. You actually talked about reproduction with him?" D. Biming shouted angrily with a livid face. Yun Chujio was dumbfounded. Looking at the furious D. Biming, her intelligence finally came back online. She wanted to slap herself. She stammered, "Prince Charming, don't misunderstand. I'm just afraid that the mermaids will be extinct. So I just asked." D. Biming looked at her deeply. "You really care about him. You even care about how they reproduce. Black thing, what else are you hiding from me?" "Nothing. Really nothing. I just asked how the mermaids reproduce. I said I would help him introduce a girl, nothing else. Besides, the main reason I asked him that question was because I was more curious. Think about it. How are two fishtails going to he?" Yun Chujio said as she started to giggle. D. Biming was so angry. "You're just a girl. Why are you so concerned about how the mermaids mate? You're really infuriating me." Yun Chujio laughed recklessly as she said, "Prince Charming, what do you think they would do if one of them turns into a fish while doing it?" Ha! And Feng and An could not bear to look at her anymore. "Miss Jiu, our lord's hair is almost standing on end. You should look after yourself." Chapter 736. Doesn't my body look good enough? When D. Biming heard Yun Chujio's words, he could no longer restrain himself. He picked Yun Chujio up and walked into the house. Yun Chujio realized that she was picked up by D. Biming again. She shouted angrily, "Put me down. You're making fun of my height." D. Biming said coldly, "Black thing, if I don't punish you, you might go overboard. I will teach you a lesson today." Yun Chujio suddenly remembered that while training in the Wei Tower, the gigolo had once slapped her little bottom. That pervert would not want to slap her bottom again, right? "No, I have to think of a way to escape and go to Fifth Sister's place to hide. This stupid mouth, why does it always spew nonsense whenever it sees the gigolo?" D. Biming threw Yun Chujio onto the bed and propped his hands on the bed. He looked down at Yun Chujio and said, "Black thing, how do you think I should punish you?" Cough cough. "Prince Charming, I was just curious. Aren't you curious too? Yun Chujio's eyes had a chaotic look as she thought about the possibility of escaping. Humph. I don't have such a perverted hobby as you. Were you going to train or to flirt with that fishy pervert? Prince Charming, I'm innocent. It was just a coincidence. I was very obedient the entire time. If you don't believe me, you can ask and phone. Besides, if I have any evil intentions, why would I tell Feng about it? Yun Chujio said pitifully. Hearing Yun Chujio's words, Di Baiming's anger subsided a little. He did not expect Yun Chujio to continue. Besides, Big Brother Merman's hair is so long, I couldn't see anything. Di Baiming gritted his teeth. Then what else do you want to see? Doesn't my body look good enough? You want to see someone else's despite already seeing mine. Di Baiming was completely angered by Yun Chujio. Such unexpected words came out of his mouth, and after he finished speaking, his face immediately turned red. Yun Chujio's eyes lit up. Prince Charming. You're right. No one looks better than you. Take it off and let me appreciate it. I promise I'll only look at you from now on. Take it off quickly. Take it off quickly. Di Baiming's face was as red as blood. He was so angry that he gritted his teeth. Shut up. Write a self-reflection letter. Write it right now. Yun Chujio pouted. You said it yourself, and you're blaming me? I'll write one. It's not like I haven't written it before. Yun Chujio thought to herself, I'll do it as long as the gigolo doesn't spank my little butt. As for writing a self-reflection letter, it was a piece of cake. Yun Chujio sat beside the desk and wrote a self-reflection letter very quickly. She smiled cheekily and handed it to Di Baiming. Prince Charming, this is a fresh self-reflection letter. Please take a look. Di Baiming glared at her and read the letter. Di Baiming had no more energy to complain about the number on the self-criticism letter. He directly jumped to the main text and saw that it read, My most handsome, most beloved Prince Charming, in my heart, no man is more handsome than you. No man can replace your position in my heart. Were not for you, I would have died of heartbreak. When Di Baiming saw this, the anger in his heart subsided a little. No matter what, although the black thing was a little off-key, her feelings for me were genuine. In her heart, no one could compare to him, let alone that fish demon. However, when Di Baiming saw the rest of the letter, he was so angry that he wanted to slap Yun Chujio to death. Chapter 737. Madly hurt, Di Baiming saw the following words, Prince Charming, although I love you to the bone, I must muster up the courage to point out your shortcomings today. Although I know you will be unhappy because I care for you, I must speak my heart. Prince Charming, you are two multiplied by 10,000, narrow-minded. When I asked Brother Merman about reproduction, I was asking from the perspective of humanity and science. Do you have to be so stubborn? Besides, you are so stingy. I wanted to see you, but you didn't even let me see you. If you had, would you have lost anything? I was just looking, it doesn't change how I feel for you. Why are you so uptight? Besides, it's not like I haven't seen it before. When Di Baiming saw this, he didn't want to read the rest of it. He was so angry that he threw Yun Chujio onto the bed again. Black thing. If it wasn't for the fact that we haven't gotten married yet, do you think I wouldn't let you see it? Of course, if you think that you can see it so easily, then I will immediately fulfill your wish. Di Baiming was already extremely angry at Yun Chujio. His eyes were filled with anger as he stared at Yun Chujio. Prince Charming. I was just joking. Don't take it seriously. Getting angry is unhealthy. Calm down. Yun Chujio was a cowardly person who was full of life, heart, and guts. She was usually very loud, but when she saw that Di Baiming was about to make a move, she immediately became tied. You're joking, are you? I'm not. Don't you want to see? I'll let you see it all today. Di Baiming said as he trapped Yun Chujio on the spot and started to take off his clothes. Yun Chujio saw that after Di Baiming took off his clothes, he actually started to take off his underwear too, and immediately, she started to howl, Prince Charming. I was wrong. I was so wrong. I won't dare to mess around anymore. am still young. You can't do such a perverted thing to me. Di Baiming was so angry that he was amused. A perverted thing? Since you provoked me so much, I'll be a real perverted beast. Yun Chujio was really scared now. She was so filled with regret that her intestines had turned green. If she knew that the pretty boy would be so angry, she wouldn't have said those words. She cried and said, "Prince Charming, being impulsive is not the way. Please calm down. I was wrong. I promise that I will be obedient in the future. Even if there is a man lying in front of me, I will not even look at him." She secretly added in her heart, if he did not look at him, he should at least look at her twice or thrice, right? Di Baiming only wanted to scare Yun Chujio. He would not touch her without her consent. If he could not even do that, what sort of man would he be? However, Di Baiming felt that he had to teach Yun Chujio a lesson. Otherwise, if she did as she pleased just because he was not around, wouldn't she be doing that every day? Seeing that Di Baiming seemed to be serious, Yun Chujio was so scared that she started to talk without thinking. "Pretty boy, if you want to do that to me today, I won't forgive you. You unreasonable bastard. You narrow-minded pervert." Di Baiming's anger was once again stoked. "Black thing. Shut up. Shut up. Why should I shut up? You pervert. You bastard." Yun Chujio's words stopped abruptly. Chapter 738, Useless Yun Chujio was in a daze. She did not even know that Di Baiming had released her. A thought flashed through Di Baiming's mind. Indeed, this was the best way to stop the black thing from spouting nonsense. He would have to use it more in the future. He had finally unlocked the ultimate skill. Di Baiming pretended to be serious and said, "Black thing, I'm warning you for the last time. If you mess around again..." Yun Chujio nodded in a daze and rolled to the side of the bed. She hid under the blanket and decided to be a quiet little quail. It was too embarrassing. Di Baiming left her as she was. He kept Yun Chujio's self-reflection letter in his storage ring. Then, he put the illuminating pearl on the table into his storage ring and lay outside the bed. Yun Chujio hid for a long time. When she saw that Di Baiming had not said anything, she poked her head out from under the covers. She touched her blushed face and cursed in her heart. Wasn't it too much to ask for a kiss just because of a disagreement? She immediately despised herself for being so weak. It's just a kiss. It was not like she had never kissed before. The gigolo was clearly trying to scare me just now, but I actually fell for it. It's too embarrassing. Idiot. Such a good opportunity was wasted. I'm a pig. How did I become an idiot in front of the gigolo? Could it be that the saying that one becomes dumb when they fall in love was true? My IQ has become a negative number. The more Yun Chujio thought about it, the more unbelievable it sounded. The more she thought about it, the more regretful she became. For now, she did not have the guts to do anything. She sighed in her heart, but she quickly adjusted her state of mind. There was still a long time to go. She would find an opportunity sooner or later. What was the rush? As the saying went, what does not kill you makes you stronger. As long as she persevered, she would succeed. After consoling herself, she turned around, wanting to see if Di Baiming was asleep. Under the moonlight, Di Baiming was looking at her with a smile that was not a smile. The moonlight made his sharp features look a little more gentle. Yun Chujio's heart palpitated. It was like seeing the first flower in spring. Her heart instantly felt warm and bloomed. There was only one person left in her heart. Di Baiming looked at the adorable Yun Chujio and laughed softly, "Little fool." Yun Chujio's little heart pounded violently. She cursed in her heart. When did the flirting skills of this gigolo suddenly go off the charts? I like this gigolo so much. What's wrong with him? She didn't know how to express her feelings, hence, she hugged Di Baiming like a koala and said, "Prince Charming, you are good-looking and your cultivation level is high. You are good to me. How can there be such an outstanding person like you in this world? What if I find out that I love you even more?" Di Baiming felt a warmth in his heart. However, he said calmly, "Yun Chujio, what the hell is wrong with you? You are so good at hiding your feelings. Such skill is rare in this world. For a moment, the two of them were silent. They leaned against each other and only had each other in their hearts. Di Baiming felt that this was what the book meant when it said that time was peaceful, right? He hoped that time would stop at this moment. Di Baiming was immersed in the peace when he heard Yun Chujio say something dirty. The pink bubbles in Di Baiming's head instantly disappeared. Chapter 739. Lack of sincerity. Yun Chujio suddenly remembered something. Prince Charming, have you kept the illuminating pearl on the table? Remember to return it to me tomorrow. Di Baiming snorted coldly. Black thing, would I still be after your things? Yun Chujio thought to herself, not after my things. You've already taken so many of my spirit stones. However, she did not dare to say it out loud. She laughed dryly and said, my Prince Charming, I'm just reminding you. I don't have any other intentions. Di Baiming raised his eyebrows and his eyes flashed. Didn't the clothes, handkerchief, and boots I gave you last time get destroyed by lightning? I've found another set for you. Yun Chujio's face lit up with joy. She widened her eyes and waited for Di Baiming to bring the items to her. She did not expect Di Baiming to stop talking at this point. Instead, he closed his eyes and looked drowsy. Yun Chujio's heart felt like a kitten was scratching it. She shook Di Baiming's arm and asked, Prince Charming, where are the clothes and boots you mentioned? I'm sleepy. Let's talk about it tomorrow. Di Baiming said calmly. Yun Chujio was not willing to give up. She said slyly, Prince Charming, my dear Prince Charming, give it to me now. Otherwise, I won't be able to sleep. Di Baiming curled his lips but didn't say anything. Yun Chujio knew that Di Baiming was taking revenge on her. She wanted to slap herself. Did you owe me anything? Why did he mention the illuminating pearl? She blinked her eyes and said fawningly, Prince Charming, I was wrong. I shouldn't have treated you so badly. Please forgive me. I promise I won't make the same mistake again in the future. Di Baiming snorted coldly and still didn't say anything. Gigolo! You cold-hearted man. You only know how to take advantage of me. If you are already prepared them, why don't you give them to me? Yun Chujio rolled her eyes and kissed Di Baiming on the cheek. Prince Charming, this is my apology gift. Please forgive me. Di Baiming was silent for a while, then said indifferently, not sincere enough. Yun Chujio was stunned at first, and then a sentence appeared in her mind. The gigolo's a degenerate. The gigolo's a degenerate. The gigolo's a degenerate. However, Di Baiming had underestimated Yun Chujio's thick skin. She didn't even care about her reputation just to get new equipment. She hugged Di Baiming's face and kissed it. Prince Charming, is my sincerity enough now? Di Baiming curled his lips and hugged Yun Chujio. He covered his lips with hers. After a long while, he said hoarsely, it's never enough. Yun Chujio's face turned red. Damn, it was so embarrassing. She did not care about the equipment anymore. She rolled to the side of the bed, crawled under the blanket, and continued to pretend to be a quail. Di Baiming was very satisfied. With a move of his spiritual sense, a set of equipment appeared on the bed. Little Gio, do you not like this set of clothes? If you don't like it, they'll keep it. When Yun Chujio heard Di Baiming's words, she immediately crawled out from under the blanket and grabbed the new equipment. Who said I didn't like it? She cursed in her heart. These were obtained through my selling my body. If I don't get it, wouldn't I lose a lot? Yun Chujio did not care that it was late at night. She could not wait to try it on and twirled around. Prince Charming, does it look good? It was a moon-white dress. It was very fresh and elegant. There were dark patterns of the Pinellia flower embroidered on it. As Yun Chujio turned it around, it seemed as if it was dancing. Di Baiming only had one sentence in his mind. She was graceful as a swan and as elegant as a swimming dragon. Chapter 740. It is enough for me to praise myself. Di Baiming was a little dazed. When did the black thing become so beautiful? Under the moonlight, Yun Chujio's skin was as white as jade while seemingly being as smooth as cream. Her pair of bright and lively eyes looked around. Her lips were slightly red and swollen, but they looked sweeter and more alluring. Yun Chujio saw that Di Baiming did not react. She leaned on the bed and waved her hand. Prince Charming, do you think that I'm too beautiful and that's why you're speechless? Di Baiming's ears were sharp. I just think that this dress is very good looking. As a person, you're just okay. Yun Chujio pouted. Prince Charming, if you're lying, be careful that your nose will grow longer and longer. I'm a beauty that can topple countries and cities, and I'm as beautiful as a flower. Yet, you went against your conscience and said that it's just okay, Di Baiming subconsciously touched his nose and coughed dryly. Alright, it's getting late. Stop showing off and go to sleep. Yun Chujio pouted, took off her clothes, and climbed onto the bed. Prince Charming, it's a virtue to know how to praise others. I always praise you, can't you praise me too for once? Di Baiming was silent for a moment, then said faintly, Little Gio, I think you don't need to be praised by others. You should praise yourself. Yun Chujio was stunned for a moment, then she was angry. Prince Charming, what do you mean? Are you saying that I'm always shamelessly boasting? When did I praise myself? Isn't it appropriate to describe me as devastatingly beautiful? If you're not boasting, then forget it. Why do you have so many excuses? Normally, I don't ask others for anything that I can do on my own. If that's seen as boasting, then it's boasting. I feel that I've perfectly explained what it means to be peerless and magnificent, simply beautiful to the extreme. Di Baiming, all the positive words that Yun Chujio knew about women were applied to herself, then she yawned, forget it, I'm too outstanding. Words can't even describe it. In short, it's just a sentence. Prince Charming, you've picked up a rare treasure. You're fortunate to have met me. It's a blessing worth 8 lifetimes of cultivation. Di Baiming stretched out his arm and held Yun Chujio in his embrace. He said word by word, that's right. It's my greatest fortune to have met you. Yun Chujio was just showing off when she was suddenly caught off guard by Di Baiming's words. Her little heart started thumping violently. Damn, this pretty boy's flirting skills were really good. Yun Chujio was usually very cocky, but at that critical moment, she was silent. She stammered out the words, me too. Di Baiming curled the corners of his mouth. He felt that the rarely shy black thing was really cute. He wished that he could accompany her at all times. It would be great if she could break through to the peak of the 9th level of the Spirit Emperor realm as soon as possible. Little Gio, how was your training this time? It was pretty good. However, because I met those people from the Goshawk sect, my training plan was partially hampered. When the matter with the Red Spider Lily Jade token comes to an end, I'm prepared to go out and train. Di Baiming nodded. The faction behind the Red Spider Lily Jade token has always been hidden behind the scenes. The people who show themselves are just some people who have been bribed by the medicinal pills. Moreover, it seems that they have been planning things for several years. I'm afraid that there won't be any progress in the short term. Yun Chujio's eyes lit up. Prince Charming, you've just reminded me of something. Tomorrow, I'll let Elder Qi see just what that so-called magical medicinal pill is. Lu Qian described it as having some unique properties. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.